Evening, everyone. Welcome to FTB Sports. We have a Monday from the Man United agenda.
Good afternoon.
And
not evening.
All right. It feels like evening. It's been a long day for me. Okay, it's been a long day. And we have Sam, Spurs for Life from PAXTON Road TV.
Good evening, everybody.
Tell by his background.
Oh, is it Spurs? Oh, shit. Oh,
Feeling good, top of the league. That's fine. You represent. You enjoy your moment. Like last Christmas, you enjoy your moment. All right, so let's just get straight into it. We've got England playing tomorrow. It's Andorra. I mean, it's group qualifiers for the World Cup. It's not too heavy. You know, if we didn't qualify, it would be a bit of a shocker. But I think it's just nice to see the group of players who Gareth picks and what kind of style of play he's bringing to our country team. So Hungary, 4-0 win. I did predict 3-1 actually. So I think, there was 4 goals. So I think I won that prediction. What do you think is going to happen? So pretty much we've qualified now. I want to see who's he going to play versus Andorra. It's not going to be a tough game. No disrespect to them. It's at Wembley. I believe if we look at the lineup, the squad, I believe it would be nice to see some of these youngsters making a start. The future England squad players making a start. Like the Saka, Bellingham.
Yeah.
I
totally agree with you. I think because there's 3 games, you played Hungary. It was supposed to be a tough game. They were second in the group at the time. They proved themselves in the Euros against Germany, so that was apparently a tough game. They played near enough the Euro 2020 squad against first team against Hungary. Yeah. Tough, really strong side. They played it out there and got the result they deserved. Hopefully, like you say, they're going to against Andorra at home. Andorra not really the greatest of international teams. Hopefully, they play a few Calvert-Lewin and Bellingham. I really want to see Bellingham and a few other youngsters. Give them more experience. I don't think he's going to be too drastic with it because he wants to keep his job and be, have that record. You don't want to make major changes, but 3 or 4 changes I expect to see from that side, and maybe bring in the new centre backs as well.
Yeah, some nice early subs would be nice. And I mean, Hungary, I think once we scored, they just kind of lost it. Then the first half they did well, but once the goals started coming in, they just their charge just kind of drained out of them. Sam, how are you feeling about it?
If I'm honest with you, are we allowed to do honesty on these shows? Because I'm going to do it anyway.
You just go for it.
I think it's boring. I think this is boring because we're not likely to not qualify from this. We played Hungary, probably along with Poland. Are they going to be the 2 toughest opponents to play? Andorra. That's again. Why are we playing Andorra? So again, for me, Gareth Southgate should be playing players who he needs to see, who potentially have got an opportunity to maybe stake a claim for the World Cup, which is not until next year, December. So we've still got a year left of qualification or whatever. A lot can change in that time. The likes of Jude Bellingham for me should be playing. Who else would I like to say? I'd like to see Saka as well. I'd like to see Jack Grealish get another run in the team. Players that are going to be playing next year. Now there's 1 or 2 like Harry Kane. Would you need to play him this game? No, I don't think so. So play someone like Dominic Calvert-Lewin and just let's see these players who are on the edges of things get an opportunity in a qualifying game to see if they can cope.
Absolutely. If not now, when is he going to do it?
100%.
But like Sam says, I think if you look at the group, it's not a group of death. It's like a group of life. You're gonna. How are you going to be tested at international level, true international level, if you're playing Andorra? I mean, come on. I can't name one player from Andorra. I can't even name the greatest player ever from Andorra.
I don't even know what Andorra is. That's what I'm saying. I don't know where it is.
I've got no clue. I wasn't taught that in geography. But,
from Harry Potter, innit?
Yeah.
Were they a team in the ECL?
I know Andorra's box, but
I'm joking.
Hopefully, yeah. I really don't know much about Andorra at all. So when you talk about experience and getting a good run out, you could look fantastic, but it's not going to be. It's not really measuring up to how you're going to be looking in the World Cup against the top team, is it? They can say, "Oh, you had a great cap. He scored 4 goals in a game," and then you put him against Brazil in the World Cup. Say, "Oh, but he scored 4." But
yeah.
This league is Andorra. I mean, come on.
Yeah. We've already proven if you're looking at England as a team, we've had some relative success going back to obviously the World Cup before reaching the semi-finals and the Euros reaching the finals. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it seems like there's progression there. So we know that we've got the ability to do that. Now there's a lot of players that I believe who are pushing for, because start again. England have got a lot of depth and probably one of the countries have got as much depth as us. There's not a lot of countries in world football have got as much as depth, particularly in the forward type areas. So we've got to see these players. Why rely on the same players to kind of see how they do? Because we know how they can do. They've proved it in the 2 last tournaments, being able to get to the semi-final and the final. Now we need to bolster the squad to make sure that they've got an equal amount of exposure, playing time, as well under pressure, and I guess relative pressure playing in a World Cup qualifier.
And it's at Wembley, you know, let them enjoy that moment. If anything, you know, he's bringing Bamford along. If he's not going to at least play him or start him or sub him on at some point, what was the point? You know,
exactly.
Let them enjoy that home game at Wembley. There's no real pressure because we've pretty much qualified. It's an easy-ish kind of game. And again, I don't want to disrespect any Andorra fans watching or whatever, but, you know, I personally would love to see like the bench players start in this game. You don't need to play Harry Kane. You know, it's just no need. Let's look to the future and who's going to be playing even at the next Euros. You know, let's start getting those guys up and running and ready.
If we're honest, the weakest area of England's squad team is probably defensively. You know, I think midfield were pretty much decent there. I think forward line was certainly covered in most areas. And there's a lot of ways that they could play to maybe put some of those forwards into midfield areas. The likes of Grealish can play in midfield. The likes of Mason Mount again could play a forward area, but he could probably play midfield again. Foden, players like that who have got an opportunity to maybe play different areas. Let's look at the defense. That's the weakest area of I think England's squad. Yeah, play players now to see how they're going to do. Do you know what I mean?
Goalkeeper,
100%. Jordan Pickford's not. I'm not the greatest fan of Jordan Pickford. Play Nick Pope, play Sam Johnson. See how they cope. Have we got a number 2 that's relatively good that's going to come in if we need him to? Same with the centre backs as well. Harry Maguire, can't rely on him all the time, can you?
No.
I think at fullback position we're quite in good situation with the fullbacks, the right backs especially. Left backs beyond.
Plenty of right backs, haven't we?
I know we've got plenty, but beyond Shaw and the Chelsea boy, what's his name?
Reece James.
No, left back from Chelsea.
Oh, left back. Oh,
from Leicester.
Chilwell.
Beyond those two, I think we don't really have left-footed fullbacks. And yeah, definitely I agree with Shane about the centre-back position. We're really struggling there beyond the front two and the goalkeeper. But just going one more thing, I think midfield's not great either. I know beyond the first team, what we're saying, Rice and the Leeds boy, what's his name? Phillips. Beyond those two, you've got Henderson who's getting old and Bellingham is coming in, but there's not much else. There's not much depth there, I don't believe. I can't think. They were looking at the boy from Southampton, Ward-Prowse, as the other backup, you know, for a real centre midfielder. But beyond that, I think we're a bit short, to be honest.
Do you know what it is, Amondi? And sorry, Joe, just quick on that. Do you know what it is? It's the type of position that you're trying to play. If you're going to play with 2 holding midfielders, I agree with you. We don't have enough depth there. Yeah. But do we have to play with 2 holding midfielders? Can we not be a bit more adventurous? Particularly if you're playing 3 at the back, you don't need to have 2 holding midfielders anyway because you've got an extra centre back. So from my perspective, you've got Calvin Phillips, who could probably play a good holding role. He has proven that. You've got Declan Rice, who could definitely do that as well. So play 1. Then you've got more attacking threat. If you play similar to, I'm not saying with Barcelona, but if you play a 4-1-2-3 sort of system, you can afford to have Jack Grealish. You can afford to have Mason Mount. You can afford to have Foden. You could play Sterling if you want. There's so many more options. Jude Bellingham can come in. It's the options for what your strengths are. Play to your strengths.
True.
That's what I would do.
I think as well, it's kind of let's be brave now, you know.
100%.
Gareth needs to be brave. He needs to have faith in the squad. And, you know, like Amundi says, many a time Harry Maguire's world class, top class centre back, so surely he can handle that. You know, we're gonna push up. And in the Hungary game, Declan Rice was fantastic. He was really impactful in that game, wasn't he? Man of the match, I think he got in the end, and he even got a goal, which was lovely.
Bit fluky, but still he deserved it because his performance, like you said, Jem, was top draw.
I'm just going to do a couple of comments a minute, sorry, quickly. So we've got hands clap from Adam, because we're fantastic, obviously. Perfect opportunity to play one of our 14 right backs too. I want to see Trent. I would love to see Trent in that same team position with Kane up front. I'm just curious more than anything, just to see how that works, and if, you know, Kane's just loving it. I'm sure he would.
So a question about Trent, and there's all this talk about him, and you'll probably know a bit more about this than I would, maybe even Amundi. Trent has got this tag now that people think his long-term position is going to be in midfield. Again, opportunities. You've got so many right backs. Why not try this guy in midfield to see how he's going to develop, if he can develop? Because that's all I'm hearing. Trent Alexander, he's going to be more of a midfield. He's more creative, blah, blah, blah. Well, opportunities. We've got enough right backs. Play him in midfield. See what he does.
Yeah. So when he was initially included in the squad for the Euros, that was kind of a rumor. All of us Scousers were like, "Oh, we want to see that. I'd like to see that," you know. But I think Gary Lineker posted that up, didn't he? Because that was initially where he was, and then he was moved to a right back. Liverpool fans were kind of split on that. I'd be curious more than anything. You know, could he eventually become like a Gerrard? I don't know. He seems to just fit that role so well. But I think the England squad, that would be where I'd quite like to see that experiment done. And again, that would be Gareth being brave and making that decision.
I see him more. Would be a good game. I see him less of a Gerrard, but more of a David Beckham in terms of his delivery. Yeah, that's how I see him. Because you don't need to have. David Beckham was never blessed with pace. David Beckham didn't necessarily have to get up and down the pitch, and how the modern game is developing now. You have to get back and track back. That wasn't part of his game. But what he was good at, get the ball into him, get him into space, get him to cross the ball in. What's Trent's biggest strengths? Getting the ball, getting into space, crossing, making accurate balls. So again, it's simple things when you think about football. It's not complicated.
I've seen as well, when you've seen recently with Pep, he's made his fullbacks into midfielders when they've got the ball. They come into midfield and squeeze in a lot and play that sort of role. So you have to be comfortable on the ball. You can't. So Kyle Walker doesn't particularly go into. He doesn't really suit that, but Cancelo does. And I've done it with Kimmich at Bayern Munich and Philip Lam as well. He started playing him in midfield. Right. So I think in that respect, Trent's got all those abilities to suit that position well. If he was playing for Pep, but obviously he plays for Klopp. You know, but I'm not. But I do think
we don't know how the evolution will go. But the way him and Robertson play, that's our style, isn't it? That's our. You know, that's
the only thing with Trent, I think the label that's always placed on him is that he can't defend, but I don't think that's true.
I've always put Harry Maguire, like him, and some players seem to pick up a stigma and people just run with it. It's absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish.
Well, I want to see evidence for it, and obviously every fullback gets caught out. You're going to get caught out a lot of the time.
Got 2 man of the matches so far this season, defending and going up and down. You know. Yeah, I agree. But one thing I would say, I'd never see him lacking for not trying to get back or not trying to stand up and get back in the tackle. If he was out, like if it was an issue about him being out of shape, positionally, whatever, then I might understand it. But I think he's got all the attributes and the character as well. So I don't like that label on him. I think he's decent enough. And I think when they're comparing him to, say, Reece James or Wan-Bissaka, they say, oh, no, we need someone who's more defensively minded. But for what he gives you going forward, I think it's a major asset. And if he was playing for Brazil, if he was Brazilian, I mean, there you go. You see, he'd be the next Cafu or Malcolm or someone, you know, or Daniel Alves. I think a lot of it comes from people look at his stats, and from the way we set up, he doesn't do a lot of the defending because he's more of an attacking player. The way we set up the team, you know, it's Fabinho and Henderson that sweep across the back to let him go forward. So you can't look at the stats.
As Sam Spurs Life was saying, he played to people's strengths. And that's what we're seeing with Trent. That's why he's so effective.
The other thing to add on to that is again, it depends. You set your tactics to the opposition that you're playing as well. If you're a team who is going to be less possession based, you're going to be more under pressure. Then you're going to need somebody who's more defensive minded, I would assume. Trent's better going forward than he is defending. Again, the system, if you play three at the back with wing backs, again, you can afford to have your player further forward as a wing back. And if you are a team that's got more possession in that formation, he doesn't need to track back as much. So again, as we've just talked about, get him into areas where he's going to be able to hurt the opposition wide, crosses in, players like Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Harry Kane in the box. There you go.
Yeah. Absolutely. Harry Kane, I love him, you know. He will feed Harry.
What are you proposing here?
I don't. Yeah, let's just not go into that. Yeah,
that's not happening.
Silver Fox, big up for 3 lions in the panel. Yes, well, I'm a lioness, you know. Canis. I think this is when we were talking about let's play like the bench, or he's hoping he gets injured. That's the sixth thing.
That's what he wants. That's all he wants.
He thinks I'm mash up Kane.
Canis thinks play Kane.
Yeah, Ricky right now. Sam, evening, Sam. Afternoon, sorry. Afternoon. Not playing Kane serves 2 purposes: a much needed start for others, and also eliminates injury concern for Spurs.
Yeah, he said
I mean, yeah, we all feel that way, don't we? Watching England game, we're just like, please don't hurt them. Please don't hurt them.
I don't understand this almost like obsession to play. I know he's the England captain. I know all the things that come around, and he's the poster boy for England, but what's the obsession? We know what he can do. It's not a surprise. He's not going to change his game now. Play somebody else.
I have to say, it's not really clicking as well in England.
Patrick Bamford is, like you said, he's in the squad for a reason. He's been playing well for Leeds.
I agree.
Let's see what he can do at this level.
Yeah, I agree. I'd like to see Bamford and Calvert both on, to be honest, personally. But I will say a lot of the England games is not really clicking for Kane. Seems to get impatient and want to go back. I think that's more the setup, tactics not quite working more than anything. Adam saying Barry fraud spade. I'm sure he will get another start. Obviously not a Harry fan. Solo 7, evening, Errol.
Yes, Errol.
Evening. It's been a long day. I'm going to keep saying evening. It's my evening now. Big up to the panel. Thank you very much for tuning in. I don't know how to say your name. I'm really sorry. Shane.
Miss Yar or Miss
Messiah.
Mr.
Saya or Messiah 2012. Evening. Mundy talks football. Mundy loves podcasts.
He certainly does.
He just loves me.
I'm a free agent.
Yeah.
You're like
I'm like the man from Del Monte. I always say yes.
You're like a version of Pogba who's going to be a free agent soon, isn't it? I say that out loud.
I set you up for that. Damn.
About making signings, sort your in-house issues. Silver Fox, sorry, I mean 2 lions in the lioness. That's all right. I'll forgive you, Silver Fox. Foxy bingo. Messiah, TAA works best in a possession-based team.
There we go.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's what will be tonight. Not tonight, tomorrow. So he deserves a start. And let's see what he can do in an England team. Kane don't need to play this game at all. Absolutely. I would arrest the world-class Brazilian Luke Shaw for this game.
But you notice in the squad, you had the squad up earlier. There isn't Chilwell isn't in the squad. So who would be left? You look at Trippier again.
Trippier, yeah.
I don't see Trippier as a left.
Remember we were saying Chilwell hasn't played in the league either at the moment. Don't know
the North had Stones hadn't played in the league either.
Yeah. That's Man City, isn't it? They don't need to play top players every week.
Was it a 4-3-3 that they played against Hungary? Sorry for my ignorance, but I didn't.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Okay. So the likelihood is they're going to play the same system against Andorra. No disrespect to Andorra, they're not as good as Hungary, I don't believe. So again, if you're playing a 4-3-3, depends on how you do it. I'm not for these 2 holding midfielders. Go with 1 holding midfielder and play 2 more attack-minded midfielders. And looking at that looking at that, Jude Bellingham, I think, can be a box to box. You got someone like Mason Mount in there. You know, Jesse Lingard, even Jesse Lingard. Give him a shout.
Yeah,
I agree. But funny enough, watching the Hungary game, it was only Rice that was dropping deep. When we bring the ball out, he was the deepest man, and you had guys like Phillips and Mount coming coming deep to get the ball, or just pushing on, just free rolls and just roaming around. You know, so it wasn't, the shape was sort of like a 4-1-2-3.
Yeah, absolutely, it was. Yeah, I mean, up front, I would like to see Bamford and Calvin up front tomorrow. You know, let them both have a little run out.
Be difficult to play the two of them because they're both sort of number 9s, aren't they?
Yeah.
It, again, that's a change of. It depends on how you do, because obviously with Harry Kane's situation for Spurs, and I can only go by, he's becoming this almost hybrid number 9/10. So he's dropping into the midfield area. So you could, I don't know if the ability for Bamford or Calvert-Lewin to kind of play that sort of role as well. I'm not quite so sure, but I would be surprised if you played both of them. I'd like to see one of them, and then you're probably going to flank him with 2 wide players. Who that would be? Jadon Sancho potentially, or somebody else. Oh, has he gone home?
Apparently, he's been injured, so he's gone home. So that counts him out now.
You Man United ones are clever, aren't you? Oh, he's injured. Let's go home now. Oh, you lot are smart. Why can't Harry Kane get one of them injuries?
He's like, what? Well? Ronaldo's come in. I'm not fucking playing Andorra.
Lingard wrote
I hurt myself. I need to come home.
Don't like that. Sneaky Man United, sneaky.
I think it'll be Saka and I don't know. It's just like you said, it's how he sets it up. But again, he can sub on and off. I would just like to see none of those first team regulars starting. That would be nice. I can imagine him just starting with that same team and then subbing people on. But let them have a start. You know, let's just give them.
What's both your thoughts about Jack Grealish in terms of him getting more game time? And as I said, I think he potentially could be the main man for England. I think I've always mentioned him.
Absolutely.
I think I'd like to see him play again, just for the reasons being that on that left-hand side, you could play Saka on the right-hand side. Both of them could become inverted forwards.
Yeah.
Again, developing your game, different tactics for different teams. This is a team which you can tactically do anything against. You could play a 3, you could play a 4. You could say, let's be more attack-minded, play maybe 2 up front, even go back to an old formation of a 4-4-2. It's not going to make much of a difference, if I'm brutally honest. So see how you can be, because you're going to need to have different ways of playing against the better teams. Tactics wins games, man. It's players win games, but tactics also win games.
Yeah, it's about having that set up, everyone knowing what their role is and playing that role properly and sticking to it. I think also, like you said, with Grealish and Saka playing in that kind of way, with Trent playing the way he does, that would work well as well. You know, we'd 100%. Keep the possession and we'd keep the attacking up. And then Rice did well in that holding midfielder role. You know, if we've got Stones and Maguire and Rice just holding up that little back line there, and we will know Trent can track back. I'm sure Grealish and Saka, they can both track back as well. So if needs be, they got the pace to track back and help out.
There's so much flexibility. If you play, and again, sorry, this is my last time about this because I just
Gareth
get so
needs to get creative, be brave.
It's like you play one holding midfielder with Declan Rice. Declan Rice has got experience of playing centre back. You can then split the 2 centre backs, becomes a 3. You can then tactically have a back 3. Trent can then play further forward, as with the left side as well. Push Luke Shaw for, so then you've created a wing back system with starting with a back 4. You can then do that in the game. Rice comes back into midfield, and your flexibility is such that this is what the best teams do.
Yeah.
The best teams do.
Should we get the boss to Wembley now and just let him know?
Yeah. They're probably tuned in, you know. Just to add, I agree about Grealish. I think he's unique. It's very rare that an English players can play this way. You know, he holds up the ball. He's very intelligent. The other day, he was just having a ball out there, you know. And I think
Beckham came into his prime and started playing for England, you know.
But just his way he plays, which I really love. He's always feeling for the man. He knows when the man's going to come and hit him from. He knows how to use his body, turn in and out. You know, once he's got the ball, it's really difficult to get the ball off him. And I think we started to utilize talented players like this, whereas in the past, I didn't think we did so much. It was all about hit the channels or, playing long balls, that kind of thing. But now with players like Grealish and Foden, and then we've got the Saka and the Sterlings that can drive at you and do other things. I think, like, when you look at the forward line, the backup as well, it's really talented, and it's going to cause problem for anybody out there. But
eventually, we haven't got Foden in there at the moment, this qualifier thing. And last we were talking about Greenwood. I think we even mentioned that Dele Alli, if he keeps up
Dele Alli, true.
This season, he'd probably be back in as well. I think that was Canners that said that, because Southgate likes certain players and he will push them back in.
Can I start? What about Smith Rowe? Because he's been playing. Yeah. He's grown on me a bit.
Yeah. And who was it we said for Brentford as well? There's someone that you said.
Oh, the left back, Rico Henry. So there's another one, a left-footed left back. But obviously, once the Premiership starts to see him properly, hopefully they start endorsing him, because I rate him. But obviously, you have to see him do it in the Prem first. But I feel he can do it.
Just with regards to Smith Rowe, though, because of where do you play him? Where do you see is he the number 10? Is he? I don't know what he is. Is he a number 10? Is he a midfielder? Is he? I don't know. They played him in a wide area as well for Arsenal, just to fit other players in. So has he nailed down a specific position, or does it matter? Does he need to have a specific position? Can he just come in and fill positions that's required? I don't know.
Is he a bit like Ox, like the victim of not really having a set role yet?
I think his number is number 10 for Arsenal.
Okay.
Yeah, so I can see him playing in that Mount role for England, as we saw Mount play the other day, the highest of the furthest forward of the midfielders. He could obviously, like you just said, play where Grealish plays on the left, and hold it up and bring the fullbacks in for the overlap, that sort of play. I think he's an intelligent player. I don't think he's got rapid pace or anything like that, but it's good to see England playing these number 10s, so-called number 10s, and having that option to come in. And that's someone like Greenwood and these other young players. I think over the next few months with the World Cup qualifiers, hopefully if they improve in the Prem, they'd be getting more game time for England in this weak group. Why not do it now?
I mean, this is why it's a bit exciting. It's annoying because it's like 3 games into the Prem, and when it first came about, I was like, man, we're just getting going. It's exciting. But like Monday said,
some more than others. I see Arsenal fans.
They're enjoying the break.
That was all exciting. That was disappointing.
They couldn't wait. Arsenal fans,
Mr. K's happy. Your Paxton Road guy, Mr. K. He's enjoying this 2 weeks. He said he's got lots of time to make memes and enjoy looking down the table. But I get it, it's annoying. But I think after watching the Hungary game, it just makes you, I don't know, get a little bit excited again. It brings back there, like, oh, let's see what can happen. I get it, it is annoying.
If you do something that's not just a bog standard, here we go. Do something different to show us, oh, right, I didn't know that player could do that. Yeah. Because as I said, we know what most of these players can do.
Watching, Let Kane watch from the bench. That would be lovely.
Oh, that'd be great. For the next 2 games. Don't play him at all.
I just want to add as well, Oliver Skip is English.
Yes.
Well, there's another guy I potentially could fill in as the holding midfielder or whatever for England in the future. So I forgot about him. He's another guy. He's impressed me.
Yeah. So he will definitely be in the England squad. He's only 20 at the moment, so I think he's got time on his side anyway. So, yeah, I think we just
need a goalkeeper, man. We just need some goalkeepers to let, and I don't want to see Pickford playing again either. That's another thing. I want to see these other guys. Let's see what they do.
I'm not a Jordan Pickford fan, if I'm honest.
No,
neither.
Well, I probably guess I'm not.
yeah.
Being Scouse, but no, I'm not. Like, he doesn't catch the ball. He can stop the shots, but he needs to, hold on to the ball, not just. And then he does the whole shouty thing, doesn't he? When stuff goes wrong and gets, he puts people on edge.
Just quickly, what other players that we've seen, like young players? What about the guy from Norwich that plays in sort of attacking midfields with the hair, long curly hair?
I know.
Cantwell. For him, for example, what about Curtis Jones? What are these players likely to have an England future? Are there any others that you can think of?
I guess the same one we said.
What about Watkins? Where's Ollie Watkins? It's Ivan Toney. There's so many players.
It's very heavy up front. There's just so much depth up front for England right now. I guess you'd have to really fight your way in for Gareth to change his mind on who he's already picked. He seems quite a stubborn manager.
If you think of England notoriously, when you've got the players that have, and I think this goes more in the past, you seem to have a lot of people who've got a lot of caps. So things like Ashley Cole played all the time for England. Gary Neville, pretty much the same sort of thing. David Beckham, all those names cemented them. So it wasn't a lot of experimentation to see. Exactly.
Even when he was injured, he was on the plane, wasn't he?
100%. But that was to the detriment of us then going into tournament football, whereas I don't think your best 11 doesn't win the tournament. It's the best 15 or 16, maybe even more, that wins tournament football. Just look back at the history. So again, having players that don't play in these type of games to see how they can cope doesn't bode well for me, because all it takes is 1 or 2 injuries and that player might be the main man. Might have to be. If Harry Kane gets injured, somebody else is going to have to play in a tournament. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Patrick Bamford, blah, blah, blah. So, again, we've got to be flexible, that we don't just think, oh, that's our best 11, that's it, because the best 11 don't win a tournament.
This ain't league football, This is
ain't league football.
It's a different ball game.
It used to be international football was the elite, and then it was like Premiership or Division 1 football.
I mean, I think I mean more in a case of, if it's league football, you want your starting 11 to play as much as possible so they get used to each other and they get the chemistry and stuff, whereas you're never going to really get that with an England team. I see what they're saying, they want to keep the team the same so they get used to, but I mean, they're going to go back to their clubs and they're going to forget all of that. Let's just
for me, that this is the problem, and it's more so the past. The problem we had with the past is they kept on doing this. We'll play this 11. Tournament football, when you play a game every 3 or 4 days, you cannot play the same 11 and win the tournament throughout. You can't do it. It's physically impossible to do it. You have to have players of not so much exact
even
standards.
At grassroots level, they don't do that.
Exactly. So you've got to
even
be
at
players
grassroots level. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what I'm saying? Certain players, certain positions like fullback and wing back, they are so heavily demanding on your body. You can't play the whole tournament and get to the final and expect you to play 7 games or whatever it is. That don't happen. So have the flexibility. Also have players that can come in and do the job almost as well.
Yeah. And also, like I said, it depends what kind of team you're playing, and what level of the tournament you're in. It's a bit like the FA Cup or the League Cup. To start, it's a really easy game. You're just going to put out some of these youngsters, let them have a go,
It is a fine balance, but as I said, that's how I look at the game from a tournament perspective. Get into a tournament now, we've got no problems, have we? We've got no issues with getting to the World Cup finals now.
Absolutely. And I mean, even from the Euros, you could see that we can get quite far. So let's utilize the whole squad and not just have them sat on the bench watching on thinking, do you know what, Gareth?
Exactly.
Why has he bring me here, All right, we're going to wrap up now. I'm just going to go through the last of the comments and then we're going to wrap up so Shane can finish his dinner. I got a load of 12-year-olds in my house. I need to go and feed them as well. Sam, Andorra will be pleased with a draw. Question is, would a draw be considered a satisfactory result for England if they start more from the bench? If they start not one person that started their game versus Hungary, all young bench players, I'll be happy whatever the result is, to be honest. I would just be happy to see Gareth's been brave, changed up the squad and done something different that's made this break worthwhile watching. So
I agree. If there's development there, then I don't mind. It's like Italy drew with Bulgaria the other day, and I don't know whether the press are kicking off or the fans are kicking off about it, but that's a draw. It's the European champions. If that happened to England, there'd be major noise about it, wouldn't there?
Yeah. Mr. Silver Fox, Rob Holdings again. I mean, I'm not getting into that. For this game, I can see Gareth Southgate play 3 at the back.
No.
Why? Just with Gareth.
I don't understand why.
I know. I really want to see Pat Bamford start. I do as well, or at least get a decent amount of minutes from being subbed on. Saka won't start. I mean, you don't know. This is the thing we don't know. Sam, we know why you're starting Saka. Don't play Kane, play Saka. Please don't. Oh, I love my now. Oh gosh. Gareth Southgate should build the team around Jack Grealish. He is our most influential player. I agree. Looking to the future as well, even like the next Euros, 100%. So Silver Fox agrees. Yes, Monday Smith Rowe, he knows. So yeah.
I was asking the question. I wasn't sure. Yeah.
Yeah, we just bring the name up, Silver Fox, Potsy Talks Footy. Afternoon, guys. Yeah, it's great to rotate, but seriously, how much will we learn about the players against Andorra? If we play the youngsters, I think we will learn how they connect and what they can bring. I really do. Skip is all right. He's to a big club.
That's a good one. That's good.
Spurs versus Arsenal bants is kind of
never ended.
It's the lowest form.
Never gets
Can't
old.
wait to the North London derby. That's all I'm saying. I cannot wait.
Yeah,
I'll be there. I've got to watch this.
It's never been so low for them, has it, really?
Oh, it's mad. It's mad.
Todd Cantwell, we figured it out in the end. We did get there in the end. Absolutely, Harvey Elliott for 2022.
Yeah, that's a good shout. That's a good shout.
Absolutely.
A lot of talent. A lot of talent there.
Sam Elliott. Yeah, it's all blimmin' front though, isn't it? You know, we need some rough, tough, hard centre backs coming up. Goalkeeper, Silver Fox. The amount of young talent in England is really exciting. I won't lie. Absolutely. Potsy Talks, absolutely right. We just need some prospects in the centre back. I mean, this is what everyone's saying. Great discussion. Keep up the great work, FTB family. Absolutely.
Where are you?
We like mixing it all up. This is where it's at. You know, a bit of personal team banter, a bit of conversation. Solo with these proper players we have for England, they are more together as a unit instead of worrying about being rivals. There is great
shout. Great shout. Remember the Gerrard and Scholes era? That's a good shout. They didn't really get on Lampard.
Yes.
Divisions. Clicks.
Even we were saying a while ago, there was like Sterling and Gomez. They had a bit of beef, didn't they? A little bit of an issue. But I think now amongst the youngsters there's unity and equality, and I think they all just take their turn. I don't think even with the ones that are benched, they don't even look too upset about it, to be honest. I think they all just big up each other and they support each other. Final comment, we've got Potsy Talks Footy, Nat Phillips for 2022 World Cup.
There should be a question mark there.
I think so. Two question marks there. 2 question marks.
Oh, it's a wink. He's winking.
It's a wink.
All right.
Come on now.
He's not quite ready yet. He's all right. He's not ready yet.
You should have spotted the scouse sarcasm now. Come on now. Our dry humor. I mean, he would head anything out of the box. I give him that. You know, let's just get into it. All right, then, guys. So we'll be back tomorrow. I don't think Shane will. He might be still eating his dinner. Or finding a reason. I don't even
know if I'm going to watch the game. That's how bad it is.
He's not interested. He's going to go and watch the table for a bit and enjoy the view.
Premiership football. I just want Premiership football to come back. That's it.
It won't be long now. So we've got Andorra on Sunday, 5 p.m. And then we're going to do a live match reaction at 7 p.m. See if we can get on. I think Monday you're going to come on with me, aren't you?
I'm a whore for this. You know me.
Wowzers. There's no need for them language there, Monday.
That's what they said in the comments anyway. That's what they're trying to imply.
Wow. If I watch the game, all right, and if I watch the game, which I probably will watch it, I'll come back on tomorrow and give a reaction.
All right, then. We want to see you smiling. I reckon you might enjoy it. It's at Wembley as well, you know. And we will also have from our COP panel, our COP panelist James from TTM Sports. He's actually going to be at Wembley and he's going to record us a little video.
Brilliant.
I guarantee you it will be entertaining.
He is. He's class.
He's entertaining. But thanks everybody. So we will see you tomorrow at 7 p.m. and we're out.
Thank you.
Thanks.